And I've thought about this too, about who I should come out to, like to my boyfriend, to his best friend, because, for reasons, or to my high school best friend, or, to some random stranger, honestly. I don't know how to. Obviously, people who are like me, understand, and I have to obviously come out to them. But in the world we live in, and given the fact that, I guess I've always been controversial and questioning everything, I guess for me, coming out for me would be on social media and just coming out here, because I feel for some reason slightly more comfortable talking to a camera or a robot than to someone close to me. So I'm gonna try to not cut it or edit anything, and just this is my coming out video, okay? And the sad part is I don't know how anyone's gonna react to this, and it's so hard to explain, because it's not like I'm coming out of the closet as gay or bisexual. I'm coming out, but of this is how I am, or this is who I am, and I can't change that, and I'm not saying you can change who you're attracted to. I'm saying it's not a mental state of if your orientation or whatever identity, it's not a mental state. It's literally you question God, you question why did you do that. That's why I've always felt like an alien. I felt alien to this world. I felt alien to anyone. I feel like I couldn't relate to anyone because of the way I was born. And I'm also unique in other aspects that make it so I feel like I really don't belong on this earth, or I have some other kind of purpose that it's not to be normal. And maybe that's why I embrace being unique, but then the reasoning behind it is something I think other people need to understand. So I was born with a condition. When I was born, it runs in my family, that basically I'm born, I'm assigned female at birth, and I am a girl, and I am female, and and that's who I am. I'm born with, girl parts and everything, but it's called Complete Androgen Insensitivity Syndrome, and I'm gonna post more about it, but basically my chromosomes are XY, but and this is something that runs in my family, and a lot of prominent people, others have believed, Queen Elizabeth, to have had the syndrome. There's a really known fashion model, I forgot which country in Europe, but she came out that she had this too. And sorry. And basically what that means is, obviously we don't have a period, but so biologically our chromosomes are XY, as in, right, not XX, but we come out female because we can't receive any androgen, so like we're insensitive. It's called Complete Androgen Insensitivity Syndrome. So anything that is received gets converted to estrogen. So we are basically like on the outside and on the inside, but like, you know, not at the chromosome level, but on the like things on the inside is we are completely like female, like, but we don't have like we don't get a period ever, and it's impossible to have children. We don't have eggs. We're pretty much blank. We don't have a uterus. We don't have fallopian tubes. And yeah, and it runs, I believe, on the mom side, and it's actually the syndrome. It's more common than like you think. It's actually 3% on average of the population, so it's just as likely as a redhead. So just be aware that you probably know someone who knows someone who has this syndrome too, and there's complete androgen insensitivity syndrome, which is what I have, which basically we only take like the feminine features. Like we completely cannot accept androgens. And I could be explaining some of the details wrong because I'm not a doctor, but yeah. And you can look it up, like there's an article saying like the perfect female is genetically male. And it's basically about this guy who dated a girl, I think she was a model or something, and she had this syndrome, and like she opened up about it, I think in our class or something, or this might have been a different story, but basically he was describing her features, saying that like she didn't have any body hair, no armpit hair, which I don't have. I do have some body hair, but like very light. And the funny part is my mom and my sister, my sister's probably carrier for this trait, and obviously they don't have this because they get a period, because my mom had me and my sister. So she like has very little arm hair. No, she doesn't have any arm hair or leg hair or armpit hair, but she does have, this might be TMI, pubic hair. But for me, like a lot of us with the condition have very little, like almost like we're under, like not that developed in general, like almost like we're like pre-pubescent. And we tend to be taller because obviously our chromosomes are XY, which is why a lot of them, and like more like, I guess in my opinion, androgynous looking, but a lot of people also say very, very feminine. But then again, the Western definition of feminine is very little body hair, probably like slim but curvy. And you know, like most of us do have like very big boobs, but the reason why I don't is, so essentially, like my aunt has it and my great aunt, and it runs on my mom's side, and like my great aunt has like a very full rack, and we're all very tall, but so basically what happens is so we're born with like testes that are like undescended, and since our body can't like physically accept androgens, which gets converted to testosterone, instead it converts it purely to estrogen. So we literally, most women, I have to say now, and men have both estrogen and testosterone in their body. Women just have more estrogen, less, and some testosterone. Men have more testosterone, less estrogen. But for us, unicorns, basically like we only convert it to estrogen because we can't convert the androgen, so it only converts to estrogen. So we're just purely like the estrogen part, but we do have on the inside, we had like undescended like testes or gonads, or that's another name for that. And so yeah, and so yeah, there's that. And and when I was so that, because of our condition, CAIS, and CIS also means that we are also today identified as intersex, as in non-binary, but not because we chose to be non-binary or chose to be this. It's a condition that we are born with. Even though I identify as a female, and I have always felt female, and I am a female, and like my birth certificate says female, my parts, like when I was born female, like everything. But and I'm straight too, and I think that also is usually a thing. Like, we are people with our condition, we stay our lives. Obviously, not many are trans. I don't know about the partial androgen sensitivity syndrome. I don't know that many people with that, but that might be more different. But like for a large portion so far, statistically, we have felt, and I can't speak for all of us, but the people that I've encountered have felt straight, female, and into men, but are female. And that's been the case for my family, and yeah, and so going back to the fact that we're born with gonads. So I think pretty much most, like, we have to get that removed eventually, because it can cause cancer, because it wasn't meant for us. It wasn't meant for like our body. Like, it can literally cause cancer, and they're completely, like, they don't function. Like, you can't produce any offspring with them. They're just there. Like, they're literally like an appendix. And speaking of an appendix, when I was 4 years old, my appendix burst. And no, I don't know the details because I was so young. I just know that I am a runner, but like, as in when I was 3 years old, I started running on the track, apparently really fast. And I guess, like, from, eating and then running, it's not that good for you. And it led to my appendix to burst when I was 4. And according to my dad, I almost died from it because it got infected, and maybe they weren't even sure about why I was having stomach issues, and I couldn't pinpoint it, and I'm just like a kid. It's hard for me to describe exactly my pain and stuff. So, and I don't really remember it because I had a huge fever. I probably forgot that. So yeah, and I'm pretty sure that also, like, at birth, like, when they test for the gender, like, they go by the chromosomes, so they thought that I was going to be a boy. And I'm pretty sure actually that my parents thought it was a boy and they're going to have a son. And they bought a bunch of blue baby clothes, and when I was born, like, I wore a lot of baby clothes that were tomboyish and blue because they probably thought I was going to be a boy, and I wasn't when I came out, and that was probably a huge disappointment for Asian parents to begin with. But my mom knew about this condition because it runs on her side. I don't know if she told him, and maybe that's why they have marital issues, but that's a different story. Sorry, that's a tangent. But yeah, so I don't know if I had any, like, great doctors or whatever back then, pediatricians, and they probably didn't know about my condition, right? So I had appendicitis, and they were trying to, like, figure out exactly, like, what was going on, and probably had to remove the appendix. But then it took like extra long in the surgical room, got infected and stuff like that. And this is why like my dad thought I was gonna die possibly, and was probably praying and stuff, but also because of my condition. So like my appendix is this is my appendix scar here, and so like the gonads were on this side, okay, and you know there's no scar here, but I remember it even though I was 4, because my mom was putting on like I think it's Palmer's cocoa butter formula. No, you know, this isn't an ad, but it completely got rid of the scar on this side. I don't know why I didn't get rid of the appendix scar, because I know that there were 2 scars. I remember that part, but this scar completely gone. This is my appendix scar, still there, and I'm 26 years old, and I got this when I was 4. So, anyways, she probably focused on this side more, you know, because it's like something. This condition is something that we are told to hide, or at least for my side, my family and my mom and her aunts, like this is something, and they tell their like husbands later, or they probably, I don't even know, but like yeah, it's something that my mom is Shanghainese, I guess, and definitely more traditional, you know, because it's an Asian culture, so it's something that we're definitely not like felt to almost pretty much be ashamed of and hide, and to just like keep it to the grave. And that I was gonna do that, but I moved to LA, thank God, and I found out that more people had this condition and ran into people having it, and then I felt way less alone. I haven't gone to the support groups yet. But yeah, so that's why I'm opening up about it. So yeah, I got the doctors that night during the surgery, found out obviously that I had this condition too, complete androgen insensitivity syndrome, and removed the gonads too, because they're cancerous, like they can cause cancer, and we actually know who the doctor was, but like it's like sort of a family friend, but I don't even know how to ask everything, but I'm pretty sure that my appendix bursting had something to do with it, maybe because I had like a small frame and body, and like, you know that like men are built bigger than women, but then it's because I'm intersex or whatever, like I had an extra like internally like the gonads that should not have been there, but it's because my chromosomes programmed them to be there, but my condition prevents it from accepting any of the male parts, so I only went with the female, and then yeah, it probably was like taking up a lot of space and mixing up and causing my appendix to burst too. So both were removed. And then, so going back to the big boobs thing, I know I have small boobs, but the reason why it all depends on people with our condition and genetics, you know, of your parents and stuff, but in general with this condition, a lot of girls and I'm saying girls because we are, complete androgen sensitivity syndrome, most people get them removed, the gonads removed after puberty, and the reason why that's a good thing, even though that they could cause cancer, but it's mainly the risk increases after you're like 17, so before that, like it's okay to have it, but for me, I guess my build was not as big, and it probably was taking up a lot of space with my appendix too, so that's why, anyways, yeah, so if you get it removed after puberty, then you don't, like, obviously, we cannot take in or accept androgens at all, even though some women, all women accept a little bit. We don't accept it at all, so we're purely accepting estrogen. So, yeah, so the gonads during puberty, would help produce estrogen instead, like solely. which is why we have like pure skin, like very clean skin, no acne. Oh, that's another thing, we have zero acne, because acne has to do with your hormones. So like we have really good skin. I'm not ashamed of that. So yeah, really good skin, no acne, but also that helps because it like is pure estrogen kind of. It like purely converts to estrogen. That's why tend to be like curvier, like more curvy if you don't remove your gonads after puberty. So yeah, if you keep it, and like that's why a lot of us are models and stuff, because not only are we tall because of our chromosomes or XY, like we're taller, but we also tend to be on the leaner side, but also very like more curvier if you don't remove the gonads until after puberty, which wasn't the case for me. But which is why I'm not like super curvy or have a huge boob or ass or anything, but a lot of us do. And that is also, I think, is a good thing, you know, even though there's no function of it because you don't need childbearing hips or milky boobs, you know, if you can't physically bear children, but that's another thing. Anyways, so yeah, I don't even know if I'm gonna upload this video. I don't even know if I'm gonna edit or if I'm saying everything right. I don't know how to say it. I'm just saying it now because I don't want to hold my peace any longer. And it already feels a little bit better, but I just want to reach out to as many people as possible, especially other girls with my condition, because I want all of us to know that we're not alone, and it's 2023, so it's time that we open up and stop keeping this like as your like aired, like as your like secret that you have to hold to the grave, because that's what I was told. Okay, and I'm not gonna feel ashamed, and I don't want, my main fear is just being judged or like, I don't know, taken to be like seen as like a freak or something, for something I can't even change, that I was completely born into. I didn't choose this life, I didn't choose to be born. I'm not saying that I'm not grateful, but I never wanted a stigma. I don't want a stigma of not being like normal, like to this extent, because, and honestly, when I first heard about like this whole thing, like intersex, I didn't even know that it was my like the same like my condition fit into it. I thought it was like something with like being trans or something. So, but then I realized, and that's why I've always been very socially very liberal, always kind of in the middle on a lot of things, but I've always had like a soft spot for LGBTQ because I am part of the community, and I try to tell people who might judge me because I'm with someone who's conservative leaning, not even conservative, but that we're like, I am more a part of your community than you think, and I am less traditional than you think and feel. And not just my opinions, who I am is not traditional. And that's okay to be not traditional. And the thing is, I embrace things that are non-traditional to begin with, but this part of me I've never been able to embrace. I just never felt like I have an identity or I belong anywhere. So, yeah. And I never came out yet to like anyone close to me. Like, all my girlfriends knew that I, obviously since high school, like that I don't get a period. And another really good thing, positive, is because we don't like accept any androgens at all, we don't have any body odor, and supposedly we cannot take a shower for a long time. I mean, I can go days without showering and I smell great, but we don't have any body odor at all, so that's a plus. But going back to when I was in high school, you know, like I told my friend group and stuff that I don't get a period, and I said that it was like this condition, but obviously we're all in high school, like no one's gonna like question like exactly like, oh, like what are the details, and they don't really care that much. They just knew that I had a condition where I cannot bear children, okay, and I never got period. And at that time they were all like, oh, you're so lucky because you know you don't have to use a condom, or you don't have to worry about like getting pregnant or birth control or anything like that. I still felt weird about myself, and that always made me insecure, and I already had a lot of insecurities as like a kid, you know. And then because I got my gonads removed when I was 4, I never really experienced any puberty. I grew taller, and then I always felt like super insecure that I didn't have like big boobs. Pretty much, I didn't have barely any boobs or an ass, and I also ran track and cross country, so that just like, I don't know why I felt insecure. Probably I kind of blame the Kardashians because that was like the thing back then, to aspire to be like, not before Kylie Jenner, so just like Kim Kardashian and Kourtney maybe, and you know, having a big ass and big boobs and being super curvy and like kind of thick. And I was super like slim in high school and stick figure because of my like running and track, and I was also really like health conscious, but I never wanted like curves or an ass or boobs. And I feel like that's very guy oriented though, so I felt like guys didn't want me as much because I was like more of a stick. And like I had girlfriends that were like that too, but then also girls that are like got more attention because they're curvier and had bigger boobs or a nice ass, right? So I did research on my own, and I wanted to go see an endocrinologist, even though my mom was like, oh, you don't get to do any of that, like just be natural, because I heard that apparently we need like if we got our gonads before puberty, that we should take an estrogen supplement, like as a prescription, as a supplement, because that will help us not only just like with our well-being, but also can help our bones and stuff prevent osteoporosis, because everyone needs some sort of hormones. Like either you produce it on your own, but if you don't produce it on your own, you need something to protect your bones and your body. And so yeah, I went into the endocrinologist when I was a sophomore in high school, and she knew about the condition and prescribed me estrogen, starting at a lower dosage. And then basically, I don't know why she said this though, because not only like, I think she saw that I was really insecure, that I like didn't have much of like an ass or boobs, and she was trying to like help me get more like curvy, or just like have more curve. So she was saying that she's gonna have me on like lower estrogen in the beginning and then go increase. And she was also saying that that would prevent me from growing too tall, which I kind of regret increasing the dosage, because I kind of wish I was like an inch taller, especially like being in the fashion industry. I think that would help. But yeah, she said like increasing the dosage would not only help my like bones, but like would prevent me from growing too tall and give me more boobs and ass and stuff. So I listened to her, and that's what I did. I should have just stayed at the low dosage, and just for my bones, and to have like, you know, some more like still help with like my puberty and growth, but you know, just like mainly for my health and well-being. So did that for like a year, and yeah, I did like have more like breasts, especially breast tissue, I think, and then my ass like got like more, still like very like flat, but like more toned because of that, and my hips. And so then this whole thing kind of triggered me. Like I was afraid of like gaining weight from the estrogen, so I like went really strict, and eventually junior year I think I was really stressed out, insecure, and just like stressed about my life, college, and SATs. And I grew up in a really stressful environment, a public school, but a really stressful one, and I mean a really good one. But so I had very like perfectionist tendencies, so I like stopped taking estrogen, and because I thought it was like preventing me from losing more weight, and I did lose more weight, and then I spiraled to like, you know, losing too much weight and stuff, and just being scared of doing estrogen because of that, which was kind of dumb. But I was like 16, 17, so yeah. And then I haven't been on estrogen since then, and I'm 26, and I really feel like I'm missing that, and I really want to go reach out and do that, to like an endocrinologist and stuff, and take estrogen, like, and they say we should take it for the rest of our lives since we don't produce it if we have it removed. So I want to do that, and just like I think that will help with my bones and osteoporosis, just preventing that, and having calcium absorbed, strong bones and stuff like that. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna post this, when I'm gonna post it, what channel, what's gonna happen. I just need to like say it to someone and come out about it, because I think this has also affected me and my relationships, and you know, like I I met my boyfriend at a conservative like Christian rally, and I only went there just to like during the lockdown and stuff because I just wanted to socialize and like make some friends and to unwind and de-stress. So, and then we fell in love and got together and hooked up, and I always felt insecure about this condition of mine, and so I like still haven't told him, but basically he has accused me before of like one time coming back, picking me up from somewhere, like a forum, like a woman's forum or something. He like said he like went through my like, because he was confused that I did not have any tampons or pads, and then was trying like connecting dots, but thinking that he had the answer, that, and thought that I was trans, which like that like hurt, but also I was just afraid that he was gonna spread some sort of rumor, but he didn't. But like that just made me feel more insecure, and there are other things that I can get into, maybe not on YouTube, like personal sex life, stuff like that, that in the beginning of our relationship, like those kind of broke through, literally. Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to say other stuff in another video, but that's why it took a very long time for me to open up about this to anyone, and I don't want to hold it in forever, and I'm blessed to be born and to exist in a time where this is finally becoming accepted, especially to be close to West Hollywood and to be in LA, and even in the industry, because I used to also be afraid, because I always wanted to get into modeling, that like people would think that they wouldn't want me because of my condition. because they wouldn't think that I'm 100% woman, you know, but not falling into any category and making me feel like a freak. So yeah, I just hope that anyone who has this condition doesn't feel scared. When I open up about myself, I can be kind of awkward. I'm pretty dorky in general, nerdy too, and like I think someone needs to know about this. And I think that if someone else gets inspired to make the same video and to tag it and to just rise up and open up because you feel better. I already feel better, and I still haven't told anyone like that I know.